Hello and welcome to the Good Morning Africa show on Housing TV Africa. Today we have a lot of insightful, educative and also informative segments on the show. I am Memona Bagudu. Now before we kickstart, I'll just highlight some of the conversations we'll be having on the show and what today's show will be bringing to you. First, we'll look at I Can Make It, a motivational talk just to charge you for the week. And then also we'll look at the current situation presently in the country. As we all know, Nigerians are currently experiencing long queues in filling stations with the current price of petrol in the country from 617 naira per litre as at then, and presently now it is selling for 897 naira per litre. These are issues that every single Nigeria is clamoring, and it's becoming a very huge challenge, affecting our economy, affecting the transportation system, affecting the cost of food, affecting a whole lot of things in general. So we'll be looking at that. We'll be looking at the reactions of people concerning this present hike in petrol. And then also we have a very interesting segment. Our health is very important. Even while we're, seeking for access to affordable housing, we should also think about our well-being, which is very, very important. Today on the show, we have a discussion segment where we'll be talking to a physiotherapist concerning how our environment and also our accommodation and our well-being and how we tend to live within our homes can affect our health. These and more will be coming your way, but first let's go on a quick break, and then when we come back, I Can Make It is on standby. I am Memona Bagudu. We'll be back shortly.
Good morning, everyone. I trust you slept great and you're having a wonderful morning so far. I know I am. It's just a wonderful thing to just sit in front of people, faces you may never know or see, and just know that you are actually inspiring a person. I don't take that for granted at all, yeah? Now, I'm going to start off this morning on a unique note. We've all heard the word independence, all right? And I want to buttress on the opposite of independence, which is dependence. I'm going to start off with a very tricky illustration. There's a game in Russia called the Russian roulette. And you know what happens? A person picks up a revolver, inserts a bullet into one of the chambers, and locks it in. And sometimes 3, 4, 5 people could play depending on the agreement. And because the bullet lodged in the gun is unknown, you don't know what chamber the bullet is in. A man picks up the gun, puts it to his head, and guess what? You guessed right. Pulls the trigger. And the game goes on and on and on until the bullet discharges. And the unfortunate person expires. Yep, he or she drops dead. That's a deadly game. You know why I gave that illustration? The word dependence. It could be deadly. It could still be very, very beautiful. It could be very useful. It could be very applicable. And it could be very practical. Why of all games would people choose to indulge in such? Depending on one single bullet to define their lives or their life. depending on the metal, to pass the verdict or the judgment, whether they live or they die. On the other hand, I saw an illustration and I read a story about these birds in a nest. What captured my attention was the fact that I saw bones, literally, in a nest, about 4 or 5 birds. But rather than birds, I just saw skulls, bones. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And I read of the story. These little birds obviously were waiting for their mother to go get food for them. They waited and waited and waited. Probably days passed, months passed. And with time, they kept getting weak. No nourishment, no food, no worms to eat, or whatever the mommy was going to bring to them to feed them with. And they kept depreciating. Eventually, they died. Not only did they die, they withered to the point whereby just bones left. Literally, the photographer snapped that picture, and it's on the internet right now. What happened? Dependence gone wrong. What happened to the mother that she couldn't come back? Probably she was killed. Whatever happened, the mommy did not come back to feed her children. The kids depended on their mother. We can't be quick to say she failed them because we don't know whatever happened. But they depended on a higher power. Look at the family circle. A complete family, we have the mother, the father, and the children. It's not against humanity for children to depend on mommy and daddy for food, clothing, shelter, school fees, social amenities, you name them. Let me take it a notch further. As human beings, no one is an island unto himself or herself. We're supposed to be a community. This is meant to be communal living so that every human being at some point have to depend on another person. But you know what? Dependence could get quite deadly or quite embarrassing when you overstep your boundaries. We need to rely on people at some point in our lives. Depend on them. Some of us have gone through grief. We had to depend on people at some point while going through that period, that process. Sometimes you need help. It could be words. It could be cash. It could be otherwise. But at some point you depend on people. You know why I'm talking about this? Because if we abuse dependence, it could backfire on us. But if we approach it with respect, knowing that for everything there's a time limit, everything is time bound, then you could get the best of it. If I'm setting out to achieve a goal and I know that there's certain people I could depend on, rely on, and I go to them for a certain period of time, and once I stand on my own 2 feet, I back out. That is beautiful. But let us all know that at some point or the other, we all need to hold each other's hands. And we all need for our hands to be held in return. It doesn't matter how high you've climbed the ladder of success. Dependence could come in different packages. Just words sometimes, just time sometimes, just food, clothes, shelter. It depends, but we all depend on one person or the other at some point in our lives. But let's not abuse dependence. Like the Russian roulette, it could get deadly. Sometimes things could go wrong. You depend on a person, he drops dead, she drops dead. What do? So while depending on people, let us also make our time to learn how to grow our wings to a point whereby people could also depend on us. Let it not be a vicious circle. Let it be a beautiful circle of progress or progression. Okay? So dependence is not bad in itself, but let's make the best use of dependence and not abuse it. Till next time, bye.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Wow, that was a very interesting one there on I Can Make It. These are, you know, the motivational talks that we need to hear on a daily basis to keep us charged and also to remind us that tomorrow promises to be a better day. Okay, next we'll be looking at housing cost, how the fuel price hike has impacted Nigerians, and also 79% of income spent on essentials. You will agree with me that presently now with the current price of fuel in the country, a lot of things has gone up, and this has affected transportation, it has affected the cost of food items in the market. It has also affected housing, as house rents are on the rise. So Housing TV Africa has this informative report concerning the challenges that Nigerians are facing since the increment of fuel prices. Let's take a look.
Nigerians have expressed displeasure over the situation of the country, as the price of premium motor spirit, commonly known as fuel, continues to soar, affecting various sectors of the nation, including housing, a basic necessity of life. The situation, which seems to be unending, is also unpredictable as prices fluctuate each day.
House rent is one aspect of it because housing is a basic necessity of life. You need housing to where to put your head. You look at the landlord now. We're now looking at how are they going to get their own money back to be able to afford other things, because once PMS price is increased, the cost of movement increase, price of goods and services will also be affected. Then the consequence is everybody will looking anywhere you can mark up their own price to get it back, because school children of a landlord will go up. If I look at the investors, those who are investing in the estate and housing businesses, they will also be affected. The cost of buying material for building house will be very high. Because of that cost, eventually everybody is expecting another hike in the price of rentage.
According to Honorable Annie Ikechukwu Emmanuel, a landlord and businessman, the situation has made it difficult to budget, as landlords will also increase based on the increasing cost of building materials and the cost of transporting these items to sites.
It affects everything, every sector of life. The care riders, people living in the house, the landlord will definitely increase. Traders in the market will increase the cost of the goods they have, because tomorrow you don't know what's going to happen. Then the landlords, I'm a landlord, if you go out to buy building materials, everything's on the high side. So it's affecting everybody.
Speaking with Housing TV Africa, Sadiq Zango, a resident of Abuja, said that the price of house rent has doubled, as a one-bedroom flat that was rented for 250,000 naira now goes for an exorbitant sum of 700,000 naira, citing how the current hike in price of fuel has affected other sectors of life such as housing, food and transportation.
House rent, the price has doubled. If before you are paying 200,000, due to this increase of fuel hike, it's now 600,000, because I can recall one of my friends talked to one landlord about a house rent. It was last week he talked to him at the rate of 250, but it was yesterday he followed it up and the man was saying the price of the house rent now is 700,000. So you see, this it's all the fuel hike that caused all these issues. So we are calling on the present government to consider the situation of the masses and help bring about change to this, to bring policies that will bring change to the country.
Nigerians have described the recent hike as abnormal and heart-rending, as it is not the first time that they are undergoing fuel-related issues under the Tinubu-led administration.
This is the second time concerning this administration. It's not been easy on the people generally. I'm just coming out from Area 11 now to Federal Secretariat now, and what I paid is different from what I used to pay. Honestly, it's not the best. It's not the best. This is not the best of time for Nigerians right now, and my wish is that government will be able to do something about it.
House rent, food, house rent, transportation. You can't. In fact, I was with my friend on Monday. The 3 children was going to private school in Lugbe. He's paying 70,000 naira for HE school for one student. But now, they gave him 200,000 to pay for. He have to tell his wife. I was with him. This one is not a lie. He told me, he told his wife, see, there's one LEA in Lugbe here. Please go and confirm how much the school fees. It's very wrong. We are still talking about see something. We can't even eat. You can't buy rice. If you owe 1 million in your account, Nigerian money does not have value. And we are buying fuel 1,000 naira, which Nigerian money does not have value. House rent, school fees, everything will go up. They should consider us. They should consider us. Nigerians should consider. President should consider us. All these capacities should consider us. We are also human beings.
Think about it. The fuel increment. Life is not funny. Moving from one place to another, you can see a distance that you used to charge like all those stuff, 1K, they are not charging more than that. And think of it, if you are not working. If you are not working, how will you cope? How will you cope? And that is my expression that these are not okay at all. The economic wise, I mean, all aspects of the economic is not easy. And let the government of these days hear the cry of the masses. Because this a democratic system of government is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. A government for the interests of the masses. A government that has people at heart. And you have to listen to the people that vote you in. No matter how you are a mother, you are a father, and an elder statesman. You should hear the cry of the masses, hear the cry of the people, especially women with children. Woman with children. Think about a woman with children. How do you expect the woman to earn? How do you expect the woman is not involved in illegality, is struggling hard to earn a living? And you are not encourage that woman to actualize what he's looking for. You are frustrating the person.
Well, I think the government are doing what they want, and the people are seeing it. It is not easy for anybody, all right? Even people who say they have the money, it is not easy for them, because if someone is a millionaire or a billionaire spending maybe thousands of naira to fuel all, because some of these guys, all these big men, politicians, they have not one car, more than 5-10 cars. So they now know how much they are spending to fuel all these cars than what they were spending past few months or 1 year ago, all right? So it is not easy for common men, especially if poor people are the ones suffering it.
The hike in price had caused a whole lot of damages. Look at what is happening. If you want to pick a drop from AYA to, let me say, Pape Junction, they will tell you 8,000. This is something that wouldn't cost more than 600 naira initially. So is it a drop that you want to, this town service? Everything is just high. Go to the market. You are a woman, I'm a woman. We go to market. Go and price yam. The other day I bought yam. Almost 9,000 naira, 5 tubers. Things are not easy. The hike in fuel had caused a whole lot of pain to Nigerians. Even to me that is talking.
This is Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa.
Okay. Okay, moving on the Good Morning Africa show on Housing TV Africa is our discussion segment. We'll be looking at how our environment and also accommodation or lifestyle can cause some certain pains in the body, the back pain, arthritis, rheumatism, and a whole lot. I always say it that making sure that your health is in check is very, very important, and that's the only way you can be able to, do what you want to do on a daily basis. And also, we'll also look at the importance of exercise with aging and what have you. I won't be doing, or rather having this conversation alone. I have an expert in the field in person of Dr. Mbamalu Chubueke. He's the immediate past chairman of Nigerian Society of Physiotherapy FCT chapter and the HOD Physiotherapy Brain and Spine Surgery Consortium. So we're going to be having this conversation, and I hope our viewer out there will learn one or two things from this conversation. You're highly welcome, Dr. Chubueke.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you today. So let's look at our health. It's very important, right? And I've heard, I have aged people around me, and one of their major complaints, back pain, waist pain, leg pain. So let's start with the whole body pain thing. How does it start? Does it start with you being in a particular age, or rather getting to a particular age where your body is already, melting down a little? So let's start off with that.
Okay. Aging actually starts from immediately you are born into the earth. So you start counting days. And,
that's scary.
Yes, but that's the truth. Then the best period is usually from childhood. You hardly have issues. Your teenage age, hardly had issues. But once you get to 40 years, whatever you are doing that period, you need to be a kind of very conscious about it, very cautious and intentional. So you now need to be aging rightly. So right from childhood, what you are doing, what you are eating, the exercises you do will now tell on you by the time you are 40, 50, 60. So from 40 years of age is when there will be, you start noticing that your body will be requiring some little services. But by the time you now get to 60, that's one of the worst periods, because you require more of body maintenance that period. So when you were young, you are running around everywhere, jumping around everywhere. You can see it without any pain. But once you get to 40, your lifestyle will determine if you are going to age rightly or you are going to age wrongly. So let's, for an instance, someone that is sitting down for a very long time, it's not advisable for anybody to sit more than 1 hour. So once you sit, you're meant to time yourself. Once it's 1 hour, you're meant to stand up, walk around, 3 to 5 minutes. You can sit back and continue whatever you're doing.
Okay.
So, but a situation whereby you sit from morning till evening, or possibly you're always having meeting, and you sit from, let's say, 10 o'clock a.m. till 2 before you stand up. You've spent over 4 hours sitting down. And people do not listen to their body. There is a way our body talks to us. Your body, once you are doing the wrong thing, if you listen attentively, you notice that your body is telling you, I'm feeling pain here. You need to stand up. You need to walk around. So, but most of the times we neglect it. And when our body keeps talking to us and we refuse to listen, then it will tell us. So for issue, that's for people having back pain or something like neck pain, people will be pressing their phone, bending down for over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. What do you expect? The neck structure will change. It will result in pain. If somebody has been jogging when the person is young, running when the person is young, it's advisable at 40 years plus reduce the rate at which you jog.
Okay.
Rather, adopt what we call brisk walking, fast walking. The only thing is that what you are meant to achieve with running in 30 minutes, you can achieve the same thing with brisk walking in 1 hour. So, jumping around, your ligaments, your muscles are no more the same as they were when you were young. At age 60, the people, you notice that every 2 years, once you are not doing much physical activity, you notice that as from age 60, your muscle spindle, you'll be losing muscle spindle, your muscle bulk, every 2 years. They're no more the same. So, and you notice that once somebody retires from work, most people retire at the age of 60, if I'm right. Once somebody retires from work, look at the person in the next 2 years, you will discover that the aging has taken drastic effect on them because their activity level have reduced. There is what we call physical activity, and there's what we call exercise. There are two different things. The only thing is that physical activity is any movement being carried out by skeletal muscles to carry out a particular task, day-to-day task, like driving, like sweeping the floor, something that you do that on daily basis. While exercise is a form of physical activity that is planned, that is structured, that is repetitive with health goal-oriented targets. Physical activity, if you are sweeping the floor, you are not sweeping it because you are enjoying it.
You're sweeping it because that chore has to be done and the house needs to be clean.
So even it becomes a stress most times.
And that's why some people just let it go and like, I'll do it later, I'm tired.
So when you're exercising, you plan that you want to exercise. Like I come out of the street now and the dog start pursuing me, I start running. It's not an exercise. And when I start running, I have this fear that I don't want this dog to bite me. So some negative hormones are released into my system, which will now have a drastic effect on my aging process. But a situation whereby I love playing football, I love playing table tennis, and I'm planning I want to play table tennis on Sunday. I'm planning I want to play football on Saturday, as the case may be. Those positive hormones are released already into my system, which will now kind of make sure that it controls the body parameters, like that of my cholesterol level, my sugar level. So it helps in controlling it. And when you're talking about people having body pains, the people that require exercises most are the elderly. But the reverse has been the case, because those, when we are young, we exercise. When we are old, we feel like, no, I need the body to rest. So with that, the chances of the elderly complaining of neck pain, back pain, arthritis of different kinds will be very high, because they are no more doing the right thing.
Thank you so much for that very good explanation. Now, there's something I have observed over time. We have arthritis and also rheumatism, and these two kind of go hand in hand. But then I know that there are differences and maybe a bit of similarities between the two of them, and a lot of people don't really know the difference. So just briefly, explain what arthritis is and also rheumatism before we proceed.
Okay. Saying that rheumatism and arthritis, they are all forms of arthritis.
Okay.
We have what we call osteoarthritis. We have gout arthritis. There are over 7 or 10 different kinds of arthritis. So, but rheumatism is a kind of arthritis that affects the non-weight-bearing joints.
Okay.
While osteoarthritis affects the weight-bearing joints.
So
somebody can be having rheumatoid arthritis on the finger joints, having severe pain. But osteoarthritis targets the weight-bearing joints like the hip, the knee, the ankle. You understand?
Yes, I
do.
do.
So we as well have arthritis of the spine. When you hear somebody having back pain, it could be because of what we call lumbar spondylosis. It is an aging process taking place on the spine. So there are all forms of it. We have gout arthritis. So, but each of them have what causes it. It can be hereditary. It can be inherited from, it can be lifestyle. So it all depends, but they have differences. Osteoarthritis affects the weight-bearing joints, while rheumatoid arthritis affects the non-weight-bearing joints.
Good. That was a very educative one. So let's narrow this conversation down to our environment and where we live. You know, modernization has changed practically everything, because I remember back then we had rugs in our houses, we had rubber carpets, we had, you know, some things to just fill in the house and make it beautiful. But modernization has changed everything. Now we have tiles, and they come in different forms, they come in different colors, different patterns, different grips. And over time, accidents has happened in the house based on, you know, tiles. Water on the floor, you spill, you fall, you break a little leg, you know, you have some. So now let us look at elderly people now. What can you say about certain type of tiles that should be used in the house, most especially when you have young children, little children, and also the aged ones as well?
Okay, when it comes to tiles, you're meant to use the tiles that have grip. It reduces it increases the friction. So a situation, and you have to use transparent tiles that can reveal that there is oil or there is water on the floor.
Okay.
So there are tiles that can hide presence of water or oil. So once you step on it, you can slip and fall, both for kids and both for adults. Then when it comes to there are some tiles that they call bathroom tiles. If you check very well, even when you want to slip and fall on a bathroom tile, you can slip and fall, even when you want to slip, because it has those rough edges that will make it not to be slippery. So now when building a house, for the elderly, they require, depending on their strength, they require some grab bars. Like in the toilet, it's not advisable for you to provide tubs for the elderly. Chances of them falling, I've had several patients that are falling on in the tubs and hit their head, and that's it. Their bones are no more as strong as
it
when
used
they are
to be. Yes.
So some of them are having what we call osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a disease of the bone that makes it to become brittle. Any slight thing it can break. So when an elderly falls and when a young adult falls, the impact are usually not the same. So whatever we are doing, we try as much as possible to prevent any form of fall, because their fall can lead to death. Their fall can lead to stroke. Their fall can lead to head injury. Their fall can make them to be disabled and paralyzed for life. So whatever we can do, we do it as possible, just to make sure we prevent those falls. So the tiles that they use in the houses must be water revealing. It must have grip. It shouldn't be slippery. I went somewhere when I traveled to the East during Christmas period. Somebody was opening a house. I went to the house. Very wonderful, sweet house. Very costly tiles. But the cost of tiles does not determine whether the tile will be slippery or non-slippery. So when I saw it, people were saying the tiles are very wonderful.
But they did not see the other side.
They didn't see the other side. And that's why when people are building houses, they need to consult ergonomic specialists.
No. I never knew that. I
Yes.
thought it's building a house requires you having a developer, a designer, and what have you. So we have to, you know, consider some
Of course,
things when
the architects, right from the time he's doing the drawing, one, are they considering the older adults that maybe they may live in that house? Are they considering the kids? There are some stairs that if you get to, you notice that it's not well lighted. Chances of people falling on the stairs are very high. And I bet you the two worst places to have a fall are the stairs and in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because in the bathroom, most of the time the door is locked.
Yes.
So you can have a fall in the bathroom.
And no one knows.
No one knows you will be there. And once you miss the golden hour is the first hour after an incident has happened that the person requires to be administered the right treatment.
Immediately.
Unfortunately, we don't meet up with the golden hour in Nigeria. So, because if it's other countries, just press a button or call 911.
And the rescue comes in immediately.
But a situation whereby we don't have such, so by the time you get to the hospital, 1 hour has passed. So how do you do it? The best thing is to prevent those things. So the type of styles that should be used, both on the stairs, must be water repellent.
Okay.
And the stairs must be well lighted.
Okay.
And the situation, even in the bathroom, same thing. So where the elderly usually use, the bathrooms they use, should have grab bars. If they are brushing, they can hold the grab bar while brushing. If they finish going to toilets, they can hold the grab bar to stand up. If they need to walk out of the bathroom, there are already water on the floor. They can hold the grab bars. So chances of them falling is highly reduced. And the type of tiles used. But when the mistake has been done, you can just decide to use those mats that can increase the friction to avoid.
Wow. Okay, so let's look at our environment and also the type of houses we live in. How can this have the effect on our body, you know, thereby causing pains, maybe leg pain, nails pain, back pain, and what have you?
Okay. For example, I have an elderly parent who is 84. My dad is 84 this year.
Good.
And if he decides to visit me in Abuja, quite unfortunate because the houses in Abuja are not designed for the elderly. And that's why most of them usually look forward to going back to the village. Because the houses, the estates are not designed for the elderly. They are designed for the young people, for the children, young adults, the teenagers. If you build an estate and the elderly do not have where they exercise, they do not have where they go, they do not have where they converge to see their age mates.
They'll be in a hurry to go back to the village.
They don't have recreational parks. Like when I went to US, I saw adult, elderly recreational parks. So they go there, exercise free of charge, and go back to their house. So they can use those outdoor fit exercise equipment that rain can fall on, but nothing will happen
to them.
So they will they have it there. So they can use it and exercise. And they can play games there, like draft, which helps their brain function, like chess. They play those things they were doing during their childhood.
Yes.
They do it now. These are the part of the things that can help them. So in a situation whereby they don't have where they see their age mates, they feel like the society are not encouraging them to be where.
Rather, the society is against them.
So the best thing is that they feel like once they're old, they should rush back to the village.
And just stay there.
So a situation whereby there is reduced activity, both brain activity, physical activity, they usually have a drastic decline. And that's where different non-communicable diseases set in, like stroke, like arthritis of different kinds, like high cholesterol, diabetes, because they are no more exercising. The environment is not pushing them to exercise. Unlike when they were still walking, every day they have where they are going to. Having a target of where you are going to on a daily basis helps your body system. Physical activity is very good, but exercise is the best.
Oh, wow. This is really a very interesting topic, and I also know it's a broad topic. But then, Dr. Chibuike, let's go on a short break, and then when we'll come back, we'll look at aging, what type of exercise they should engage in, and a whole lot. So, viewer, let's go on a short break. We'll be back shortly.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter.
Back if you're just joining us. This is Good Morning Africa right here on Housing TV Africa. Still in the studio having a conversation, and we're looking at how environment and also accommodation can affect our lifestyle, you know, thereby causing pains in our body, and seeing how the elderly ones can manage themselves within where they stay. And we have a physiotherapist in person of Dr. Mbamalu Chibuike. This conversation is really an interesting one. So let's look at the exercise. I am guilty when it comes to, you know, exercises, maybe because I'm scared of the pain afterwards, but I keep hearing when you do it on a daily basis, you know, the pain subsides. And also let's look at exercise, which is, it's very important we exercise on a daily basis. And I love the fact that you specifically spelt it out that some people engage in some activities thinking they are exercising, but they are not. Why? Because your body releases some type of thing, very good, based on what you feel at that particular moment. So let's look at the importance of exercise first of all to the aged people.
Okay. Exercise helps the brain function, the brain health, because when you're exercising, it increases the blood circulation in your system, so more blood will go into different places. And the situation whereby once you eat, the blood is a major transporter of nutrients. Once digestion takes place, the blood will transport those nutrients gotten from the food to all the parts of the body where they are needed. So a situation whereby there is increased blood circulation, it means that there is increased nutrients. So the body organs, the skin, the brain, the eye, all of them will be able to kind of absorb more nutrients. So the situation whereby the blood that is being circulated is not that quality because there is no increased blood circulation, the food nutrients that are meant to be contained in the blood will be reduced. Exercise helps digestion. Exercise, I've talked about the brain health. Exercise helps in controlling your sugar level, your cholesterol level. Exercise helps your heart health. That's why when you jog, you notice that your heart will start beating faster. So it exercises your heart. Exercise as well exercises your lungs. That's why when you jog, you see yourself panting, gasping for air. So, and the more air you take into your system, the more oxygen is being pushed to different parts of your body. So exercise is important for stress management. So when you are stressed, one of the things we usually recommend is exercise. Exercise, you can use exercise to reduce the risk of being obesity. Exercise can be used to manage pain. On the whole, exercise is medicine. And there are 4 basic forms of exercises. We have aerobic exercises like jogging, running, walking, cycling, dancing. So those ones are the exercises that you do that will make you to require more oxygen intake. So it targets on your cardiopulmonary system. Your cardio, your heart means cardio. Pulmonary, the lungs and the blood vessels.
Okay.
So it helps. Then that one is required that everybody should do at least 5 times a week moderate intensity aerobic exercises.
Okay.
Or 3 times a week vigorous intensity aerobic exercises.
Okay.
So what's the difference between vigorous and moderate? A situation whereby I'm having a brisk walk, that is moderate. That I'm running, that is vigorous. So it all depends on the one you're targeting. Then second one is the issue of anaerobic exercises. Anaerobic exercises are the kind of exercises that you do that involves strengthening of your muscles, lifting weights. You don't require too much of oxygen, except when you now combine the anaerobic exercise with aerobic exercise. Let's say you lift a weight and bring it down, lift it as fast as possible.
Okay.
So it becomes a combination of both. You see yourself gasping for air, panting for air, because you've turned it to become aerobic exercise for you. So that one is required that people should do it 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay.
That's the minimum recommendation. So, and for people that are less than 60 years, they are meant to strengthen 8 to 10 of their muscle groups and do 8 to 10 repetitions. What do I mean by muscle group? Bending of my elbow is working on my elbow flexors. The bicep muscle is a muscle group. Extending my elbow is working on my elbow extensors, the triceps. So I'm working this one, supination and pronation, wrist flexion and extension. These are different muscle groups. You understand? So the people that are less than 60 are meant to strengthen 8 to 10 of their muscle groups. And people that are above 60 are meant to strengthen 10 to 12 of their muscle groups. So which people require exercises most? The elderly. So that is where anaerobic exercise comes in. Because once they are up to 60 years, you will start seeing people with Christian mother's hand. If you touch here, it will be shaking.
Yes.
Because the muscle bulk, the muscle spindles are being reduced every 2 years because they are not engaging those muscles.
Okay.
Most people that are of age don't cook again. They will just, whatever they need, they can tell somebody to get it for me, when they can stand up and go and get it themselves. So they feel like they are doing big madam or big man. It's not helping them. Uyibo, the white, brought out different things that can help us. When we in the village, we pound yam. These days, nobody pounds yam
at all.
We drive from our office to our house.
The house back to the office.
And as a big man, you don't drive yourself. The driver drives you. All these things help in reducing your physical activity level. In our offices, we make use of lifts. I don't want to climb the stairs. So these are the things that are making people not to live longer and age gracefully. When during the olden days, we'll be hearing that my great-grandfather lived for 120 years. Because they go to the farm. They eat rightly. They eat fresh food. The ones we eat here are not fresh. So some of them are actually preserved with chemicals. So now, I was talking about the anaerobic exercises. The next form of exercise is what we call flexibility exercises. When we were small, we'll be doing what we call tandem walk, walking on a straight line.
Yes.
Is a way of doing a balance training for yourself.
Wow.
But when, if I ask you when last did you do that?
I know, they don't, I cannot remember.
Standing on one leg is a
Yeah.
balance training.
Okay.
When last did we stand there? Do we try such? We can't remember. Doing toe standing and heel standing, we were doing it when we were small. We're no more doing it now. So now we're talking about balance exercises. These are different forms of exercise. I've mentioned aerobic exercise. I've mentioned anaerobic exercise. Now I'm talking about balance exercises. So those balance exercises, that's why when people are becoming elderly, they start losing balance because they were not training their balance when they were young.
Okay.
So before you know it, you will hear mama fell down. Any slightest push, any slightest slippery distance, they can fall. So they are meant to be training their balance, but they don't do it anymore. Their physical activity level has reduced, their muscle spindle has reduced, so their balance is in question. Their energy is no more the same. Their power is no more the same. The last form of exercise is what we call flexibility exercises. The balance training is meant to be done 2 or 3 times a week.
A week, okay.
While the flexibility exercise is meant to be done 2 or 3 times a week as well. What do I mean by flexibility exercises? When we're small, we can kind of do this stretch that one leg will go here,
and
the other leg will go the other way. When last did you do it?
I cannot remember.
So we become so stiff that we don't do those exercises again. And before you know it, the muscle will become imbalanced. And these are the things that bring about arthritis. Weakness of the muscle bring about arthritis. The muscle, some muscles are relaxed, some muscles are tight, can bring about back pain. We call it muscle spasm.
Okay.
So there are different forms of exercise. Unfortunately, we usually go and engage in one and leave the remaining three. At most, we engage the 2.
And then let one out.
So,
okay. So now let's look at stroke, because over time people are made to believe that if you're hypertensive, there's every tendency that you would, suffer stroke at your old age. But then I want to find out from you as a professional, the lifestyle we live when we were younger, does it have an effect to us having stroke when we are older?
Definitely.
Okay.
And that's why people will say that stroke is hereditary. It can come from your family. I will say yes to that, and I will still say no.
Okay.
Why should I say yes? People that once somebody has had stroke in your family, it means that you need to be careful. You need to be watchful, because chances of you having that stroke is very high. But why do stroke most times run in families? Because of they adopt similar lifestyle. Either they don't sleep well, or they don't exercise, or they eat food that is high in cholesterol, or I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. So a situation whereby you are aware that your mom or your dad or your great-grandfather or great-grandmother had stroke, you should be watchful. You should find out the things that are being done wrongly as a family tradition, and you try to change it, that are exposing you people to having stroke. If your family do not exercise, and your great-grandmother had stroke, she was not exercising. If your family do not check their BP, if your family do not go for checkup to check their cholesterol level, if your family is suffering from diabetes, why? It could be the kind of food that they eat that is actually exposing them, to having such. So, stroke it can be hereditary, but can still be prevented if you do the right thing. So I don't like people telling me that stroke is hereditary, because I know that so many things that actually cause stroke can be prevented.
So that means stroke comes with a certain lifestyle that you have lived. And if anyone is saying it's hereditary, it means that every member of that family have either a similar lifestyle they're all into, and then that's causing. I don't want you to go, but this conversation is very interesting because we need to educate the viewers on, you know, these causes of back pains, aches, and all of that. There's one other one that just came to my mind. Now, there's this cracking of knuckles. Okay, I hear people say, oh, when you crack your knuckles too much, when you get to a certain age, that's the cause of that. It's like you're inviting stroke to yourself, your bones are getting weak. Please, I need an explanation
That's
on...
a fallacy.
Okay, I need an explanation on cracking of knuckles and then your toenails just to feel relaxed, because I've heard different things surrounding that.
Okay. Most times when you crack a particular joint once and you want to crack it again, it will refuse.
Yes.
What results to that is because air is within that particular joint at that period. Once you crack it, it is that air that pops out. And you have this sense of relaxation in you.
Yes.
And when you want to repeat it again, you notice that it's difficult, except some few
persons, yes.
So, cracking of joints cannot lead to stroke.
Okay.
The one that can lead to stroke is cracking of your neck. When your vertebrobasilar artery,
okay,
is at risk. So usually, before we crack somebody's neck, we do what we call VBI test, vertebrobasilar insufficiency test. So if we do it and it is positive, as a professional, I can't crack a neck. But if I do it and it's negative, I'm safe to crack a neck. So when the artery is exposed due to some sharp bones, if you just crack the neck and the vertebrobasilar artery is exposed, chances of you tearing that artery is very high. And the person can have stroke there.
Wow.
Because it supplies the brain.
Oh.
So if the blood is no more coming to the brain, what
it's
happens?
a problem.
So cracking of the joints are good if they are done properly by professionals.
Okay.
When the professional have understood the contraindications and the indications. So like chiropractors, they are specialists in joints manipulation. Very good. So but before they do it, they make sure that it is safe for them to do it.
Wow, I'm glad that I have an expert today, you know, giving us heads up, explaining all of this to us. So basically, what would you say to the younger ones out there in terms of living a particular lifestyle so it doesn't get to affect them when they get to their old age?
Okay. Like I said, aging starts right from when you are born. In fact, some authors will tell you it starts from when you are conceived. So if the person that is bearing you in the belly is eating the right thing, it means that chances of forming well are high because they are eating, like nourishing you right from the belly. Now, when you are born, that's why you'll be, okay, when somebody is pregnant, you'll be hearing, are you taking the routine drugs? About the omega-3 and so many of them. So now, when the person is born, the mothers or the parents have a lot of role to play by making sure that the children eat the balanced diet, by making sure that the children play as much as possible. Because that play is an exercise.
Okay, so what happens to, you know, the world has changed. I remember growing up, we go out to play, you know, the kids, but now you see parents locking up their children in the house, or you don't go out, or if you must go out, there's a particular time, there's someone to guide you and all. And then when you speak to them about that, they're like, no, they don't need to play, they need to read, they need to face their studies. And also you're now saying that allowing your kids to play have a very huge effect on them in terms of having a good health. Oh, okay.
It's, if you check American curriculum when it comes to their education system, play, 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 play. They play a lot. They have lots and lots of gadgets to play with. So, but a situation whereby your life, when you are growing up, is more of, is a monotonous lifestyle that you just have to eat, read, go to school, and come back. Even during the holidays,
there's no time
the
to
way
play.
the school designed the curriculum, that at the time school needs to be shut down for those children to engage in other activities. But during that period, parents still insist that their children will be going for lessons. So they don't have time to develop other qualities that they should, other skills that they should. So play, play, play is very important. It's an exercise. And remember, what you do in your childhood will fashion you to what you will be or like in your adulthood. So a situation whereby you are not allowed to play and exercise when you are young, you shouldn't expect that when you are 40 years, you will enjoy to be exercising. And remember, when it comes to exercises, any exercise that you are doing, that you are forced to do, is no more an exercise. For example, I don't like jogging, and I'm forced to be jogging. The negative hormones will be released into my system. So the importance of exercise, the aim
has
is
been defeated.
So, but a situation whereby I love dancing, and I'm looking for wherever I can find myself just to dance, and I see an opportunity. If I dance today, being Friday, I'm looking forward to the next time I will dance, because I enjoy it. So exercise, I usually encourage people, whatever exercise you want to do, let it be what you like doing. Let it not be that you are forced to do it, so that the aim of exercising won't be defeated.
Thank you so much, Dr. Umbamalu Chibuike, immediate past chairman of Nigerian Society of Physiotherapy, FCT chapter, and HOD Physiotherapy, Brain and Spine Surgery Consultant. Thank you so much. Today's episode of the Good Morning Africa was a very educative one, and we're still going to bring you back here because we need to educate this viewer on a daily basis so they know that, oh, okay, I'm living a particular lifestyle that will affect me when I get older. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you. So on this note, we'll call it a wrap on the Good Morning Africa show and Housing TV Africa. Thank you so much for watching. You can watch this episode and subsequent episodes by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Housing TV Africa. You can also follow Housing TV Africa on all social media platforms, and don't forget to download the Housing TV Africa mobile app on Google Play Store and Apple Store to stay connected. I am Yemina Bagudu. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.